This is my current wallet. It's big, it's bulky, and I don't use half the space in it. Let's fix that. We're gonna start with our piece of leather and our pattern. Everything that you're gonna need to make the wallet is pretty simple. You're gonna want a couple stitching irons right here. These are what you're gonna poke through the leather so you can actually get your needle through there. You're gonna want some sort of blade. I just use a box cutter. You can get craft knives, but I would rather use what I have. For stitching, it is nice to have something hold it while you're stitching. I just use a wood clamp. Just a good old-fashioned wood clamp. Really easy, really cheap. You can buy stitching ponies, but might as well just use this. This little mallet, this is one from Harbor Freight. It's a soft plastic one because you don't want something hard going up against your metal, so something kind of soft. I wouldn't use a rubber mallet. Rubber mallet's probably too soft. A clip to hold it in place while it's gluing. Speaking of glue, I use this clear glue right here. It's a water-based glue adhesive. It's still flexible after it dries, which is what you want. This is an edge beveler, so you get nice edges on your wallet. You're gonna want some needles here. These are the ones I use. They're a blunt needle, so they're great. And then I use this some nylon thread. That's what I use right there. It's like tiger thread, 0.6 millimeters cream. It works really well. And then you're going to want a compass, so that way you can lay out your stitch line where you're going to have your holes, and then they're all straight in line. Let's get started. Next, we're going to grab our scratch awl, and we're going to scratch the pattern into the leather. Scratch it over here on the edge so I don't waste a lot of leather. Now we have our pattern scratched into the leather. Now we need to cut it out. Now I'm going to clean up inside of this hole a little bit since it's not very clean. Now that we have our pattern cut out, I'm going to use this edge beveler, and we're just going to go around the edge and clean up the edge so it's nice. Next, we're going to take a compass right here, and we're going to scratch a line all the way around where all of our stitching is going to be, so that way we have a line to put our stitching holes in. Next, we're going to grab our stitching irons, and I'm just going to press down lightly all the way around where our holes are going to be. Now on this side, I'm actually going to punch the holes all the way through. That way I'm not poking all the way through with my needle, and it's not so hard. Now we're going to get everything lined up for gluing. I just punched this one side. I'm going to clamp that for a minute while we dry. I wasn't actually supposed to put stitch lines here because I'm actually not stitching here because we're stitching through this side over here, but you won't see them anyway because it'll be covered up by this piece of leather. So alrighty, that side's pretty dry. So now we're going to glue along here and along here. I actually use a little piece of plastic. This is a piece of a cut-up credit card. So just use a little piece of plastic. They sell plastic applicators, but again, I didn't want to spend $5 on a tool that I didn't need. So if you're making these all the time, then maybe you want to spend the money on the plastic applicator, but for me, this works just fine. There we go, all lined up. And we'll clamp it down. Now that it's all glued together, what we're going to do is we're going to take our stitching iron again, and now we're going to punch through all 3 layers of thread so that we can all sew it together. Righty, now that all our holes are punched, we need to sew it through. Probably like this first, and then we will just lightly tighten it. There you go. It's not very tight, just barely, barely, barely snug. And then now we can do our stitching on that. I'm going to show you how to do the style stitch on a black background because it's a lot easier. You're going to have just one piece of thread with a needle on each end, obviously a longer piece of thread than this. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through the second hole first, so this one right here. And and you're going to push the first needle most of the way through to where you have a needle on both sides. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that first needle and you're going to go through the actual first hole, the very, very last hole. And you're going to go through this hole and you're going to pull it most of the way through. And then you're going to take your second needle and you're going to go through the exact same hole that you just put that needle in. So it's that very last hole. And then you're going to pull this needle, push it all the way through, get it all the way through. And then you're going to pull this one all the way through. And then you should have a stitch like this. I normally start with the one on this side because it's the side that you did the punches on. If you do the side that you didn't do the punches on, it can be hard to see the holes. So with that needle, I'm going to go through the very, very first hole that we went through, which is the second hole. I'm going to go through most of the way. I'm going to pull the needle all the way through. And then I'm going to take my second needle and go through that same hole again. And then I'm going to pull it all the way through. And now you're just going to keep doing this until you get to the very end. So now I did that one. So I'm going to go through this one, pull it most of the way through, and then I'm going to go back with this needle, and you just keep doing that over and over again. It's a really simple stitch, but it can be a little complicated and intimidating first if you don't understand what you're supposed to be doing. I'm always having the needle come in from this side because this is the side that the stitching irons went through. So the hole on this side is bigger than it is on this side. So it's easier to get this needle in first than it is this needle. And then you just do the same every time. That way it looks all uniform. Editing mark here. So a couple changes that I would make to the wall if I make it again, and I probably will make it again, and changes that I'm gonna make to this wall right here. First of all, next time I make this wall, I'm not gonna make this little hole. It doesn't look that great. I've tried fixing it up. It never looks really great. And besides, it's not that useful to push out the cards. It still kind of sticks. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be adding a little just cut right here and a cut right here. So it's a little easier to pull out the cards. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing next time. And if you do make that wall, I wouldn't make the little hole. I just don't really like it that much. If you wanna make it, you can, but then I'm gonna make a little swoop so I can pull out the cards. Alrighty, I've trimmed everything up and now I'm gonna apply a little bit of conditioner to this. So that way it's all nice and conditioner. So if you guys like this video, consider giving it a like, and if you want to see some more videos like this one, you can tap the video on screen. And I'll see you guys all next time.